Well, that wasn't a fun Thanksgiving, if I do say so myself.
It was not. 6 days ago, 7 tomorrow, and we're still getting over it, I guess.
Getting over it is one thing. Guys, welcome to another episode of the SoFLo Sports Show. It's your host, 305 Sports Babe, co-host Lou from Dade.
That's right.
And the food was great. The game was not, but here we are another week.
Yeah, we had Thanksgiving, always my favorite. We mentioned it last show. I know not so much for you.
No.
We'll ask our special guest tonight how he feels about Thanksgiving.
Everybody likes Thanksgiving but me.
Yeah,
like, I
right.
am the out because I just can't eat any of the food.
Right.
So I'm sure he loves it.
You have a great lunch, and leftovers, of course, is famous on Thanksgiving. And unfortunately, the main course for us was Miami Dolphins football, and they, of course, by now everybody knows they didn't deliver. So
yes, but before we get into that, I do want to start the show off with something that happened just a few days ago that was very unfortunate, and it's fresh to a lot of people. Lou Carnesecca, my beloved alma mater coach, one of the greatest coaches to ever coach college basketball, and I'm not biased when I say that. I think it's fair to say that.
Yeah.
Has passed away at the age of 99 years old. He passed away peacefully at his home. And
as you should when you're 99 years old.
Yes, he was just 6 weeks short of turning 100.
Oh.
We were all hoping that he was going to make the big 100, but unfortunately got had different plans for him. Mm-hmm. So the St. John's community, but also the whole NCAA and sports community as a whole is mourning the death of Lou Carnesecca. So rest in peace, Coach. I know St. John's is going to be doing a lot of things now throughout the season with a patch for him. They're going to be doing different ceremonies. His funeral is this week. So just want to say, send my condolences to my alma mater, St. John's community, to his family. And we lost a good one this week.
Yep. And definitely we cover all sports, and obviously your alma mater, but he's a legend, a titan of the game. And so an illustrious career, all he did for New York basketball, St. John's, the Garden, everything synonymous with the late great Lou Carnesecca.
And obviously he was very famous for his colorful language
and his
sweaters.
Yes. I think more for his language. I thought his language was up to par. I don't think he was Bobby Knight or anything like that, but definitely his sweaters. His sweaters were talked upon by everybody. So yeah.
Yeah. So we knew that the day was going to come, and unfortunately it happened right by the holidays. And also, unfortunately, he did not see Rick Pitino take my team to greatness yet, but he'll be watching from upstairs.
That's right.
So,
you can take the wheel the rest of the way.
Yeah. So, all right. Enough. I could talk Lou Carnesecca and St. John's basketball all day, but without further ado, super excited to have one of my great friends on the show. He's been on the show before, known him for many, many years. He used to cover the Dolphins.
Yep.
Then he went to the dark side, and I was covering the Jets. And it's an emotional roller coaster for him. Like, it's definitely staying busy with all the ups and downs with the team, more downs than ups.
You could argue that there's not more. If you're covering and following a team, there's not a team that you want to follow more than what's gone on with the Jets. I mean, everything from coaching change to firing general manager to, we'll talk about more about that. But
well, let him defend himself. All right,
he's not defending himself. I'm saying it's a tremendous team to cover with all the moving parts that have taken place.
Yeah.
It's a story every day, and it hasn't been a good one, but I mean, if that's what you want. You don't want a boring team to cover. All the action has been, with the Jets nonstop. They've been dominating the headlines for worse, mostly than better, but you can't deny that.
It's like if TMZ and ESPN were to have a baby, you'd have the Jets season.
Yes, pretty much.
So anyways, guys,
pretty much.
He's a beat writer for the New York Daily News. He's written for many different columnists around the country. You guys know him. Without further ado, my friend, Antwan Staley. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Man, we're good. We're a little nervous about this week because the Jets got nothing to lose, and we got everything to lose. So couldn't think of a better person to talk up this game this week with. So.
Well, they got a chance to officially eliminate the Jets from the playoffs again, like they did last year. So we'll see how that goes.
Is that right? So with a loss, the Jets would be officially mathematically eliminated.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. Yes.
I did not know.
Whenever they lose, with another loss, whenever that is, they'll be officially eliminated,
regardless of what anybody else does. So
correct. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So here we are. First time we're seeing you guys, the Jets, all season. Elite matchup later in the season, early December. And then obviously we play you guys last week of the season in MetLife. So for the Dolphins, this is kind of make or break in the sense that our playoff hope is very much on the line. We knew, especially after last week, that all these last games that we have are very crucial. This one, arguably, it's make or break. So
no, not arguably, it is make or break.
Is.
And I think that, and I think you agree, Antwan. I think the Dolphins obviously got to win out, and that still might not be enough. I mean, if you would have told me that 10-7 is the final record, I think that'd be enough to get in. But you're looking at the standings now. Everything that we needed, and the Jets as well, to have a chance went the opposite way. And so, the Broncos are holding on to that spot with a 2-game lead on the Dolphins, 3.5-game lead on the Jets. I just, this is it's a must-win game.
Yeah, and then you got the Colts too. I mean, you have to surpass the Colts because remember they have the tiebreaker over the Dolphins as well. So, it's definitely a situation where you just have to win as many games as you can as possible, and then hope it all adds up in the end. But the Broncos already have 8 wins, so at this instance, like if you're the Dolphins, you have to think about you got to win out. Well, you have to win out. Like it's your only shot at getting in. Otherwise, you're going to be at home, and the only team in the playoffs from the East looks like it might be the Bills.
Incredible. Yeah, and that Monday night game where the Broncos had a chance to lose, Jameis Winston threw 2 pick sixes. I mean, it's you can't make that up. I mean,
it's incredible. But he also set the record for most yardage from a Browns quarterback too. So it's great. That shows you that just shows you the just how Jameis Winston is. He's either boom or bust. Like he'll throw for 400 yards, but he'll also throw for like 2 or 3 interceptions too.
You're so right. His career in a nutshell, right there, was that game.
Depends what version you are getting of him that day. Yeah. So give you some stats right now. Dolphins right now are favored by 6.5 points. Miami leads the Jets all time with a record of 60 wins, 56 losses with 1 tie, and 1-0 in the postseason. So all of that put aside, it's looking good for the Dolphins. We are coming off our loss last week, Thanksgiving against Green Bay. And, we're pretty much, for the most part, a healthy team per se. I mean, like any other team, we have some holes. I know for you guys, Sauce Gardner and Breece Hall did not practice today. So kind of wanted to see if any insight about that. Is it something that maybe we won't be seeing them this weekend?
I'll start. They have a ton of injuries, so I'll start with Sauce. He has a hamstring injury that he suffered against Seattle, and people that can be tricky. It's like they can last a week, they can last a whole month. So my expectation is Jeff Albert, the interim coach, does not sound too optimistic that Sauce is going to play. He basically said the Dolphins are a bad matchup for a guy that has a hamstring injury, especially considering when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to cover. So my expectation, I don't expect him to play at all. So. I think he's going to be out, which I think is a big loss for them. I think he'll be missing. Breece Hall could go 50-50. He's been suffering from a knee injury since before the bye week. He played last week, was not great. He ended up having a key fumble, which he blamed himself for. I don't know if he'll play, but he's probably more likely to play than Sauce Gardner. In addition to that, the Jets also have offensive line issues, injuries. Morgan Moses did not practice on Wednesday. He has a shoulder injury. He's the right tackle. So I don't know if he's going to play. Olo Fashanu from Penn State, the rookie, also has a toe injury. He was limited. And he was limited. I mean, he was limping during practice. So that's also something to keep an eye on. And also Elijah Vera-Tucker, their starting right guard, also did not practice due to an ankle injury. So they have a ton of injuries right now. So I think the Dolphins are coming in a lot more healthier, obviously, clearly for this game. And then you talk about notes and stats. I'll give you another one. The Jets haven't beat the Dolphins in Miami in 10 years. The last time they beat them, there was Rex Ryan's final game with the Jets. And also Geno Smith, I believe that was his final start for the Jets too as well. He had a perfect quarterback rating. And so that was the last time the Dolphins ended up losing to the Jets in Miami.
And I think that knocked us out of the playoffs, correct? I want to say that was a game that ended the Dolphins' chances. So, and that's what I'm fearful of here. You got 2 games. Usually we've already played each other. So playing the Jets here in the last month of the year, is a little unusual. And so I'm nervous because, you could say, and you'll speak on it more, but at the end of the day, you throw out the records here. It's a rivalry. Ashley brought up the stats all time and just the one playoff meeting, but there's been so many memorable Dolphins versus Jets games. the Miracle on Monday Night Football, the Dan Marino fake spike, the Mud Bowl AFC Championship game, so many countless games between the two teams. You throw out the records when it comes to this, and I'm sure when you're putting on that Jet jersey and you see you have an opportunity to end the Dolphins season, they're going to take advantage of that, correct?
Well, I think they just want to win. They want to win at some point. I mean, we talk about a team that has only won once since Jeff Albrecht has taken over as interim coach since October. So basically, since that point, they've only won one game, and that was against the Texans on Halloween. They have not won since then. So, you talk about a team that's very hungry to try to get into the winner's circle there. And, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's been struggling as of late. Obviously, there's been a lot of news regarding his status for next year. But he wants to go out on a high note, too. This might be the last 5 games of his career. I think it probably is, quite frankly. And, he definitely wants to go out not, as a loser. He basically wants to go out, winning, playing meaningful football, although that meaningful football is not going to happen for him, but at least go out on a positive note because, he suffered from a lot of injuries this year, a lot of poor play, but, maybe if they can, squig out a few wins there, maybe he can show, potentially put that on tape if he wants to continue playing next year for another team.
Yeah, and that actually leads us to the next question that Brent actually he wrote in the chat, but I was going to ask anyways. So Brent says, Rodgers sits out the rest of the season if they are out of the playoffs?
Probably not, because I think he wants to continue playing. And then also Tyrod Taylor's their backup quarterback. So, we already know what Tyrod Taylor is. He's a veteran. He's 35 years old. We don't need to necessarily put him out there. Now, if Jordan Travis was healthy, then maybe you might decide, that's an option to see what he can do. But, we got 2 veteran quarterbacks. And then the Jets, they may not want to win. I know the players do. I know the coaches do. But, from an organizational standpoint, you might just want to, if you're going to lose, then, try to get the best draft pick as possible. So, I don't see any benefit of sitting Aaron Rodgers down. And also, you don't want to embarrass him either, quite frankly. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback despite the year that he's had. And people are going to see that when they're thinking about signing with the Jets in free agency. So you want to treat this man with some level of respect, too.
No doubt. And you mentioned, for a Hall of Famer. Would you say first ballot? Regardless of what he's done.
Hell yeah.
Easy.
Aaron Rodgers is one of the top 15 quarterbacks of all time. So it's not even a question.
So I agree with everything you said. Now, Woody Johnson took exception to that. And there was a story out there, and maybe you can confirm it here, that he was calling for Rodgers to be benched. Any truth that you found to that, or is that something that was ever entertained remotely?
It's some truth to that, but I'll put some context behind it. Like if you remember correctly, Aaron Rodgers has suffered a number of injuries this year. He had a bruised knee, he had a hamstring injury, and he also had an ankle injury. So you factor all those into it. Then Woody Johnson wanted him to sit down, and hopefully he can get healthy. Which I think that would have been the better move than just putting Aaron out there and then him not being 100%. And then, quite frankly, he's 41. He's 41 years old now, so he looks every bit of it. And then you add in the injuries on top of it, then he literally couldn't move. So it's just now like he's been able to start moving a little bit better there, but still, like the accuracy is still not there. His decision making has been questionable there. I know everybody saw the Leonard Williams interception, pick 6 for a touchdown there. But yeah, it's true. But it's definitely he wanted to bench him because he wasn't healthy. It wasn't because he just wanted to sit Aaron Rodgers there, and he just wanted to make sure that the team had a chance to make the playoffs. Which I actually think that would have been the better option if he wasn't 100% healthy.
Got it. Okay. And if you had to guess, do you see Rodgers coming back as a New York Jet or as a quarterback in the league?
You took my question too. Exactly where I was going with that.
I have a hard time believing that's going to happen on any circumstance. There's a few things too. One, they're going to have a new general manager. Joe Douglas got fired a few weeks ago. They're going to have a new head coach. So if you're a new head coach and a general manager, Aaron Rodgers comes with a lot of baggage, and I think he always has. But his play, he was good. Like, you just excuse the baggage. Like, it's one of those things where he's playing well. He's playing at an MVP type level. Like, yeah, he can go on McAfee. He can do all this extra stuff he wants to do.
Yeah.
When he's not playing well, it becomes more of a distraction. So I think now, I don't think at almost 42 years old next year, I don't see many teams signing up for that. to be quite honest with you, unless he wants to go be a backup somewhere, and I can't really see that happening either. So
I don't think he would
I
take
think
that. I don't think he'd take that L in his career as a backup, even
Agreed.
though there's plenty of teams who would love to have a backup like him.
Oh, yeah.
And even us, ideally we don't have a great backup. You see the type of backups we've had, and
That's why we're in our spot right now.
exactly. So I mean, there are plenty of teams that would take him, but I think, as you said, for his own statue and the career he's had, I don't think he'd go out as a backup.
Correct. Yeah, I can't see that happen. I think he would just retire and, go off to Malibu, his home, and then just, go on with the rest of his life.
True. That's what it's, we talked obviously in the preseason, and the season didn't go well for the team you're covering, the team that we love so much. But let's talk about the Jets in particular, since that's the team that you are, you cover. Robert Saleh, that first domino to fall on the season. Was it the correct move? Did he, it looked like he was a player's coach. The players wanted to play for him. Yeah. Obviously, the Rodgers factor and all that. But
cool guy.
Was that the right move? Was that the beginning of the demise?
I don't personally put it like this. I don't think the Jets were going to make the playoffs either way. I think I was the only beat writer that said that I did not believe the Jets. I thought the Jets were overrated to begin with. I had the Bills winning the division. I had the Dolphins barely sneaking into the playoffs at the 7th seed, and then I had the Jets being out of the playoffs. Quite frankly, because I think, coaching was a big concern there with Robert Saleh. He wasn't perfect, but I think when they fired him, they added another problem. You took away your leader and your CEO of a team, so now you're searching for that leader and CEO, and now you made the defensive coordinator the interim coach, and he's never had head coaching experience before, so now he's learning on the job, and you're in the midst of a season, so I don't know if that was the job to try to learn on the fly, especially when it's a lot of pressure that comes with, being in New York, and then the expectations that the Jets had, and, just the scrutiny and everything surrounding it. So, I think it was the bad move at the time, to be honest with you. If they were going to fire Robert Saleh, they should have did it last year when the Jets finished 7-10 and, missed the playoffs for the 13th consecutive year, and then the third year of his tenure. Firing a coach during midseason hardly ever works. I covered one in Miami when Joe Philbin got fired. Obviously, that didn't work. Dan Campbell has gone on to do great things since then. Although I really did like Dan, but I thought he was kind of inexperienced. I kind of feel the same thing about Jeff Albrecht, too. I think he might be a good coach down the line, but he probably needs a little bit more seasoning and understanding what it takes to be a coach in this league. And I think he'll be a head coach eventually, but it might take him a few years, sort of like what happened with Dan Campbell when he left the Dolphins, when they hired Adam Gase, and then he ended up going to New Orleans and teaming up with Sean Payton. That ended up being a great thing for Dan.
Yeah, so we got a question in the chat from Russ Taylor. He's based out of the Philadelphia area. He's a big Eagles fan. Has a question for you. Who turns it around quicker, the Jets or the Giants?
That's tough to answer because I need to know who the Giants quarterback is going forward, or also the Jets too. I would say I think the Giants are in a better position because even though they're bad too, but they're stripped down. They're as far as you could possibly go. They have hit rock bottom. I don't know if the Jets have hit rock bottom, to be quite honest with you. I think they're on free fall. But I think it's still layers to this. And then, the Giants, they're either going to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, most likely. So I think they'll be fine in that area. They got Malik Neighbors. I like Dexter Lawrence. I think Dexter Lawrence is arguably the best defensive tackle in football. So I think they have some parts there too. So if they get the right quarterback in place there, I assume they're going to keep Brian Daboll. Maybe they have a shot to, do some things in a couple of years. The Jets, I just think the Jets are not. I think the Giants are a better ran organization than the Jets are, because I think Woody Johnson likes to meddle. And then when you meddle into people's affairs, especially when you don't have a lot of football knowledge, you tend to miss the playoffs for 14 consecutive years. So I think, until Woody Johnson hires the right general manager or just gets out the way, then I think the Jets are going to continue to be in this downward spiral that they've been in for, nearly 2 decades.
Okay. Can I do a follow-up on the Jets-Giants debate here? 2 quick questions on that. Despite the Giants, obviously, much greater success, in terms of a percentage, Jets or Giants town, is it 70-30? Is it 80-20? What's the number?
You know the answer to that. You already know the answer to that.
No,
it's Giants. It's Giants by 4. The Giants are by far the most popular team.
On a percentage, what's a percentage? Is it 80-20?
And
Is it
what are
90-10?
we? Okay, are we talking about the whole metro area? Or are we talking about New York City? We talking about New Jersey? Like, what do we talk about?
Let's go
You have
metro
to.
area. Metro area.
So he's talking Jersey,
I'm
New York,
involving
and
everything.
Connecticut.
I'm putting it all out there.
He's a Miami boy. He doesn't know.
All townships, all everything.
I would say, well, Connecticut's tricky because a lot of Patriot fans are in Connecticut. It's kind of split. So
They
I
go
think
up
you
in the
got
ways up
more.
there.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. Kind of like how they deal with the Yankees and Red Sox too. I probably would say 75-25, I would say.
Wow. It's still a big number.
I
That's a
think
huge
that's
number.
fair
Yeah.
as well. Lou's just the town that I'm from in Central
Yeah, it could
Jersey.
go Philly. It could go Eagles or Jets.
Yes,
Yeah.
but what
Right.
you're exposed to is a lot of Jets, given my
Right.
family and
Correct.
stuff, and you know the quick checks and everything have all the decorations and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you take, if you leave my South Plainfield Township as a whole, it is more Giants.
Okay.
And then if you go a little more south, of course, it's Eagles.
All right. The follow.
Yeah, and also to an extent too, like you go to Long Island, like you had a lot of Jets fans out there because the Jets used to play at Shea. So they used to play out there. So you find a lot more Jets fans than you do, Giants fans. And I think in the city, you're going to find a lot more Giants fans because I think it's a different type of fan base. I think Giants fans are a little bit more eclectic as far as like, just, you have your brown, black, whoever, like with Giants fans. I won't say 100%, but, Jet fans are a little bit more white collar. I guess you could say that.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%.
I had one more follow up. As far as the jersey, the classic Jets jersey, the classic Giants jersey, what are you leaning towards? What do you think pops more? What's a nicer looking jersey for each franchise?
I'm gonna say Jets.
Are we talking like 90s Giants jersey? I like the 90s look for the Giants. So I probably would go there.
There you go. Okay, I agree with that.
I like the. Yeah. Oh well, yeah, of course. Like, that's a given. I mean, the Dolphins have one of the best throwbacks, arguably, in the league. So
agreed. Perfect. Okay. 2 more questions with the Jets season. We talked about Salah obviously already. The Devontae Adams move. Was that, how far did that set it back? Obviously, gave some draft capital away there. What was the reason behind it? Was there really a hope that was going to ignite Aaron Rodgers and make him play like he did when they shared the field in Green Bay?
Well, I think there's a few things there. I thought the Jets thought still they were contenders, like playoff contenders, and particularly, challenge for a Super Bowl, even after the trade was made. And I think that Aaron wanted to be united with his best friend. Devontae had already asked out from the Raiders there, and they wanted to make it work. They actually tried to trade for him a year ago, and then the Raiders declined it. They said, no, we're not trading him. And then Adams really wanted to stay. And then, of course, the business decision situation came about with the Raiders, and, he decided to ask for a trade, and then he hurt his hamstring, and eventually, of course, he, signed, wanted to, got acquired by the Jets. It was interesting that you asked me that. Like today, he was asked, do you regret the trade from the Jets? And he said no. Like he feels like, he still could, potentially return next year. Obviously, that has a lot of that has to do probably with Aaron. If Aaron doesn't come back, I have a hard time believing he would too, because he's been in a bad situation. Like between the Raiders and I think this is probably even a worse situation than the Raiders, quite frankly. But I think he probably wants to go somewhere where he can win. If Aaron's not here, then I have a hard time believing he will be there. But the thinking was, they had a chance to compete for a championship or at least get to the playoffs, and obviously that has not happened, by any stretch of the imagination. So he said he doesn't regret the trade. He could be just, window dressing or just trying to say the right thing. But I have a feeling like he obviously didn't expect this to happen, like to this team to be completely free falling like this. Okay.
And then, post season at this point, not the playoffs, but, with the next loss, eliminating the Jets and moving now on to next year. Last week it was announced that they've retained the services of Mike Tannenbaum's agencies to hire the next head coach and GM. And I take a lot of issue with this. I mentioned on the show last week, and I want to get your opinion because Mike Tannenbaum, obviously being a personality in ESPN, but more famous for his, GM and, administrative positions with the Dolphins and the Jets previously, resulting in nothing. I mean, he has not led either of those franchises to the playoffs. And so
that's not true. That's not true. Actually, he did lead the Dolphins in 16 to the play. Well, helped them reach to the playoffs. So I will correct you there.
Okay.
But yes,
the
it was
result
not.
was a loss.
It was a largely not non-successful tenure for him, for sure.
Correct. And so, what is your take on that? And what do the Jets hope to have come about of this? And why would they pick a person who's not had the track record to make these two crucial decisions for their franchise?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with you look at the team like Commanders, like the 33rd team was kind of in charge of their bringing in the candidates last year for the Commanders, and ended up hiring Dan Quinn, and that's worked out really well. So I think if you're Woody Johnson, somebody that doesn't have a lot of football expertise and knowledge and doesn't know necessarily the candidates, you want like an outsourced company to kind of help you with that. So at least he's not just relying on himself. He's realizing like I need some help, and Tannenbaum is obviously somebody that he has familiarity with. I mean, obviously it didn't work out with the Jets, or neither did the Dolphins, but he feels like Tannenbaum would know the candidates there and do a good job picking them. And along with that, also Rich Spielman, who also has a experience with the Dolphins too.
Yes,
crazy enough, would also be helping him too as well. So I mean, ultimately it's going to be up to him to choose who he wants to hire, but he can at least see what they put in front of him and then make the decision from there.
Perfect. So before we get your score prediction, about a week or two ago, we found out some great news, being Dolphin fans, that Richmond Webb is now a semifinalist, top 25 to get into the Hall of Fame. I'm part of the committee of trying to get him into Canton, and it's really exciting news. We'll actually be hosting an event with him next week in Houston. Yeah. So you've covered the Dolphins. Yeah, no, he's a great friend of mine, and I cannot wait to hug him in person and congratulate him. And a lot of people are really, really backing him, not even just with the Dolphin community. He had a great career, and it's really time to get him into Canton. So what are your thoughts on Richmond? And is this the year that we finally get Richmond in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know if it's the year, but I think he should be in. I probably think he should have been in. I mean, he's one of the best tackles in the 90s. So, I mean, if you're, that was such a great era for football there, and he helped Dan Marino. So, yeah, I mean, look at his, accolades that I think is worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. I really do. I just think he gets overshadowed by just having a guy like Dan Marino. But yeah, I think he should have been in years ago, quite frankly. Like, I think he's very underrated as a player. Hardly anybody got past him, and he did a great job against Bruce Smith back in the day. And Bruce Smith, to me, is the greatest Buffalo Bill of all time. So, I mean, if you can help shut down Bruce Smith, then I think that deserves a candidacy by itself.
No doubt. And you mentioned 90s. He was all decade 90s team, 7 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pro teams he made. And you mentioned Bruce Smith, talking about a guy in Tony Boselli with the Jaguars. He made his whole candidacy based on how he dominated Bruce Smith in a playoff game. And, here's Richmond Webb going up against Bruce Smith twice a year for, a decade plus. I mean, he held his own, more than held his own. Bruce Smith will tell you that. And, countless other O-linemen or defensive linemen that he went up against will echo the same sentiment. So we're really hoping. I agree. He may have to wait, but he's on the cusp now, and hopefully, there's traction to be made for the future.
I think he'll get in eventually. I just don't know. It's always so tough because you look at these candidates and you're like, man, all of these guys could get in, because it's just, you can't vote for everybody. So it's just going to depend on just how the voters look at it. But yeah, I think he should have been in, to quite frankly. Like, I don't even think it's been a question from in my mind. I think Zach Thomas took a long time to get in too. I thought he should have been in, but way before that happened too. But it seemed like something about some of these Dolphin players, they just have to wait a long time for them to get in. But that shouldn't be the case. I mean, they have a great history there. I actually think, and I said this to somebody, I forgot who it was, but the way the Dolphins treat their alumni, like, it's probably the best I've seen, like, in the league. Yeah. I think just bringing those guys back and integrating them within the organization, I think is truly tremendous how they do it.
I agree. Nat Moore is the alumni coordinator for the Dolphins, and he does he speaks to talk and he walks the walk, and he does a really great job. So you're saying if you were part of the Hall of Fame committee, you'd give Richmond the yay for this year?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Perfect. Excellent.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
All right. I want to give you some trivia before you make your prediction for this weekend's game, the Sunday huge game.
1 o'clock, Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah,
you probably know my prediction, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay. But before I do that, I want to hit you with some trivia. Since the year 2000, there's been 3 quarterbacks that have won the AFC East. Can you name them?
You got this.
Since 2000, yeah, I know the answer to that. Chad Pennington,
Okay, and the other two, I mean,
Josh Allen,
and the
no,
greatest.
obviously Tom Brady. Like I
Correct.
saved him for last.
You knew good. You passed the test. Now, did you know that Chad Pennington is on that list with two teams?
Twice. Yeah, the Jets in 02 and then the Dolphins in 08. Come
Correct.
on now. Like, come on now. Like,
I know.
you talking to?
I knew you would get it, but for those in the room that didn't hear that, it's incredible. Since the year 2000, there's been 3 quarterbacks, and Chad Pennington is one of them, and he did it for 2 teams, the Dolphins and the Jets.
And also to that point, he is also the last quarterback to lead the Jets and the Dolphins to an AFC East title.
Yeah, that's exactly 2002 and 2008, as you said. So incredible.
Let Chad enjoy retirement. Let him be his thing. All right, guys. So in the chat, we like to do this every show, and every show we're wrong. Drop in the chat score predictions for this week. Dolphins, Jets, 1:00, Hard Rock Stadium. What do we think? Put it in the chats now. Lou, why don't you start? What are you feeling this week?
Okay, yeah, look, it's a must win. Obviously, we've gotten the beat of the pulse here with Antwan telling us, that the Jets are pretty much 1 game away from being eliminated, and all the series of moves that have caused their season to go bad. Ours hasn't been much better, but we can rest our laurels and our tears on the fact that Tua missed a good chunk of the season. So this is a must win. You cannot, Antwan, there's going to be a lot of Jet fans in the stands. They always make their way down here. This is
it's a lot of Jets fans that live down there too.
Yeah, they're already here.
It's the 6th borough down here in Miami, so we get that, but it's a must win. And so I'm going to predict the Dolphins to win this one 28-17.
All right. Well, what I think is, again, like you said, we got to win. We have to be strong in the offense. This year has been pretty quiet for Tyreek and Mostert.
Yeah.
And those are like my 2 go-to guys. And they've not had explosive years like what I would hope for. But on that same token, guys like Antwan, Jonnu Smith, even Waddle the other game has had great games.
As of late.
Waddle as of late.
Correct.
But Jonnu Smith and then Antwan, of course, just turns it up, have, produced great games. So I think it's going to be a battle of our offense. Tua has to be excellent, which there's no reason why he shouldn't be. Even Teron Armstead, we know that he's not fully healthy. He hasn't been in the last, 3 years. We just need a good Teron Armstead to protect his left side. So with that, I feel the Dolphins should win 24-10.
24-10. All right. That's on the floor.
I mean, last year was 30-0. So I think anything would be an improvement from that for the Jets. But I like the Dolphins winning 30-13. I mean, the Jets have had problems offensively. Now you got injuries to the offensive line. Sauce Gardner may not play too as well. And, I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, especially if Breece Hall doesn't play too, because now you have to throw the ball, maybe upwards to 40 times. And, I know the Dolphins have had problems getting pressure on quarterbacks and sacking them. I think this might be the week where they kind of snap out of it and, get some pressure on Aaron Rodgers there. Maybe blitz him a little bit, maybe some Zach Zealer a little bit, Chop Robertson there as well. So, I definitely I like the Dolphins to win pretty handily. So 30-13 sounds about right for me.
Chop's been coming on of late. So you're saying that if you have the Dolphins defense in fantasy football, go ahead and deploy them this week.
Yeah, I will go ahead and start. Yes.
Okay.
I like it. And around the room, what you're seeing again, Dolphins around that 24 mark, Dolphins 34, and Brent says it's going to be a statement game, 44-17 Dolphins. So seems like we're all on board.
We're all on board. But that said, and we talked about it at the beginning of the show, there's still that, obviously we got to win all the games, but if it comes down to that last game in the MetLife.
We still call it the Meadowlands. So
yeah,
we do.
There you go. Listen,
you're good. Okay.
The Jets aren't going to go
the racetrack right across the street, so it says Meadowlands on it.
And that crazy mall too, right? That mall over there is
American Dream. Yeah.
So, but look, I think we're all in agreement that we're going to take care of business this week. But if we should win out and it comes down to the last game, I'm a little nervous. That's all I'm saying.
I'll say this too, because I don't know what the Jets' state of mind might be for the last game of the season, in a game where they have nothing to play for. I mean, I think we're kind of seeing cracks in the armor. I think players are starting, I won't say checked out, but it's been a long season for everybody,
Yes.
and I think people would just rather just it end as soon as possible. So I think in a season like that, I don't. Rodgers might be motivated because it might be his final game ever. But I think other Jets players might be like, yeah, we try to get to Cancun, we try to get somewhere warm, like we try to get out of here. So
Miami, Jess
yeah,
Chisholm's down
so
here.
that would be a good game for the Dolphins to try to shed that narrative about cold weather, which they need to. No, fairly or unfairly, I'm not saying it's fair or not. I'm just saying that's the narrative that's out there. So they need to kill it.
Definitely got one more score prediction. My grandmother in Daytona Beach, Florida, she says 24 Dolphins, 17 Jets. She also said it's a family feud because her brother-in-law, my uncle, is a Jets fan. So you do get a lot of that. You do get families who are torn between teams. My family is definitely one Dolphins and Jets. So it's always a fun matchup every time we play the Jets. So hopefully it goes in our favor like it should. So anyways, Antwan, it has been fun. We love when you hang out with us. We are excited that you're coming down to Miami this week. I have to tell you, it's been a little nippy in the sense that it has been 50 degrees here. Not nippy in the sense that.
Oh yeah. So I feel so bad for you. Oh my God. 50 degrees.
I felt it a little bit this morning. I put my heat seater on. Driving to, I enjoyed it too. It was like soothing, listening to like my 90s music.
That's ridiculous.
But the cold down here is a different type of cold.
Oh, come on.
It's a dry cold. You're gonna have a great time.
Look at him.
I always do. I always got to see like a million people. So,
he gets me.
But yeah, I'll be out like I don't know who's tailgating or whatever, but I always come say hello to everybody. So I'll be around.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you could tell everybody in the room and everybody watching right now how they can follow you, where they can follow you. You're an awesome follow on Twitter. The Nuggets for days. X these days, whatever it's called.
I know X Twitter. People still go on Twitter, but yes, we know what you meant. You can follow me at Antwan Staley, all social media platforms. I'll follow my work at nydailynews.com too. So that's the best place to find me.
Absolutely, great nuggets all the time. Facts. You put a lot of funny stuff out there as well.
You love that part.
Yeah, he is a great follow. So please go out and support. And you're awesome. Thank you so much for joining us as always.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it. I assume y'all probably have me on in a month from now, maybe. So I'll probably talk to y'all there.
New Year's, so we're gonna see you. We're gonna see you about 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
Obviously, getting out just upcoming stuff here that you got going on. Covering the NFL team is a year-round job, but what else? The Yankees being in the World Series most recently.
I know. I'll talk about the Yankees.
I know you're Red Sox, but I'm saying in terms of coverage and your job, what's
it ain't my job. Hell, I don't cover the Yankees. Thank God.
No, but what else is going on in Daily News?
That's enough. Covering the Jets is enough. I don't need any more. I don't need any more work, man. Like, damn. I'm covering like a damn soap opera right now. You got me damn trying to work me to death.
It's like a trilogy,
dude. I'm trying to go on vacation at some point after the season is over.
Listen,
I need it.
Yeah, very well deserved vacation.
I'm about to come down there. I'm about to come down there as soon as the season is over. For about a week.
Look us up, man, and we'll hang out.
We're there.
100%.
Yeah,
you deserve
I will definitely be down there. Yeah, yes, I do. I really do.
All right, Antwan. Safe travels down here, and we'll catch up with you in about 3 weeks.
All right, I'll see y'all soon.
Catch ya.
All right, see y'all.
Oh, he's awesome.
Oh, he's
so great.
Top notch.
So great.
Top notch.
He tells it like it is,
Straight shooter.
And he's not afraid to say it. I mean, you got a lot of people. Even we're guilty of it sometimes. We want to keep things so well. We're going to drop predictions that I try to be real as always, but sometimes you let your emotions get the best of it, and he does not. He tells it exactly how it is. He calls it out when it's not going correct. Yeah. We asked him some tough questions, and he answered them all.
You tried to stump it in trivia. I would have put so much money on him.
I know. I knew he knew that. And specifically, if you didn't get that, 3 quarterbacks have won the AFC East since year 2000. Obviously, Brady.
And
obviously,
Chad with the Dolphins and the Jets. I know.
And Chad Pennington. Both last times that the Dolphins and the Jets have won the AFC East. The year 2002 for the Jets, 2008 for the Dolphins. Both franchises are, essentially doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Recirculating garbage is what they're doing. So.
Definitely. Talking about garbage, we can definitely talk about a few other Miami sports. Let's hit on them real quick. You guys know the Canes lost.
Hold on. sorry, before, and I should have done this with Antwan on, but before, I do want to say
What props are you
something
bringing on?
nice
Here we go.
because look, the Bills, they won the AFC East. I predicted that they wouldn't be doing so, and so I'd be remiss if I didn't, congratulate them in my own way, except for the one guy, and I posted this on Facebook and Twitter. Some guy ended up subscribing my emails to the Bills, and I'm going to find out who you are. I know you're out there. And I'm going to find out who you are. Yeah, I got like nonstop emails from the Bills, specifically to buy AFC East Championship gear, and it was really upsetting. That's all I'm going to say. I did not want to see that when I'm checking my emails, but I'm going to find out who you are. But look, we lost, right? They won the division again, 5 years in a row now, and I just want to, take my time out right now and congratulate the Bills. I'm going to wear an official AFC East Championship salute to the Bills. So congratulations, Bills, and I'm going to do that right now. There you are. There you are right there. Congratulations, Bills, on another AFC East Championship. Or should I do this? Congratulations, Bills. All right. It's always going to be Buck Buffalo, and you're lucky that my wife censors my curse words here. And so I'm going to say it the diplomatic way, Buck Buffalo. Eventually, you're going to run out of division titles, and we're coming. We're coming, baby. I don't know when, but we're coming.
Okay, moving on.
All right.
Anyways,
sorry. Had to get that off my chest.
Okay.
Or off my head.
Anyways, guys, Canes lost against Syracuse on Saturday. It was a heartbreaker because essentially everything doesn't even matter for the Canes anymore. It doesn't.
Well,
they dropped in the ranking.
They dropped 6 spots, so they went from number 6 to number 12. It is a 12-team field.
They're done, Lou.
So you would think that
you went this far not to go just this far. It's done. Everything that Mario Cristobal did this season
yes,
nothing
but
because
what I'm trying to say is that in a 12-game field, you would think that they, being number 12, have a chance. But the reality is that there's more games this weekend, conference championship games that the Hurricanes are not playing in because they lost to Syracuse.
Those people are going to shine and get in. So it's
correct. So specifically, Arizona State is going to take that 12th spot, or whoever the Big 12 winner is in that conference championship game. Could be Iowa State as well. Yeah. And then Alabama is a team that got to number 11. That's what you really have to look at because the 11th is the last at-large bid. Yeah. And so it looks like the Hurricanes are going to be left out. They definitely need SMU to win. They need the Mustangs to beat the Clemson Tigers because if Clemson wins, you could potentially have 2 of those teams in there. So you definitely need to have SMU win, and then you need the committee to reconsider and have a change of heart and put the Hurricanes back in the field because right now they're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Their season's practically over. And when you look back at the season, yes, there's been great times, great wins, and a lot of excitement. But at the end of the day, I don't want to say it means nothing, but what do you have to show for? You went all this way just not to go all this way. Yeah, it's just deflating.
Yep, no. You started off 9-0, but you lost 2 of your last 3, and now you're 10-2. All the games were close. And they had to come back from behind. They really have nobody to blame for themselves. I mean, you gave up 42 points against Syracuse. Yeah. You've given up 38 points to Virginia Tech. They gave up 45 points to Louisville.
Berkeley was a tough one.
They had to come back from that one.
That was exhausting.
There really was no excuse here. You were up 21-0 in this game in Syracuse, which I thought was upstate New York, but it's not. It's
like
Central New York. Yeah. But yeah, look, they're up 21-0. You should win that game. The defense couldn't hold their own of the bargain, and here's where they're at. They have nobody to blame but themselves. I obviously we want them in, right? The city wants them in. Mario Cristobal wants them in.
I had a watch party planned on Saturday for them that I planned weeks ago. Right. That is now no longer a Canes watch party.
Yeah,
but it's just a party.
Again, at the end of the day, they have nobody to blame but themselves, and the fact that they couldn't stop anybody on defense. Which, by the way, Jason Taylor, Miami Dolphin Hall of Famer, is on that Mario Cristobal defensive staff. Yeah. And obviously him throwing his name around and wearing his gold jacket did nothing for those kids because they couldn't stop anybody all year long.
Don't always translate to being a good coach. Sometimes.
Well, I'm not saying he's not a good coach. I'm just saying that the proof is in the pudding. And in this case, the pudding is not good.
So let's continue with the negative train.
Yeah,
the Heat are also struggling. We're playing Lakers tonight. LeBron is in town. We are not there, but they're playing Lakers, and the Heat have just been not doing great.
Yeah, got destroyed by the Celtics last night.
You could see that happening. Yeah, that's not a huge surprise.
No Jimmy Butler. I don't know if Jimmy's playing tonight, but they're below 500, and they got some tough games coming up. And Bam has been playing well. I mean, it's a whole mess right now. You mentioned LeBron's in town. Good opportunity for me to trash him a little bit. Ultimately, he's going to get his jersey retired and all that. But I want to back up to this whole Bronny James thing, which was a total sideshow, a circus. I mean, he's now in the G League and he's playing home games only. I mean,
he only went to the Lakers with his dad. It's a whole thing.
No, I get it, but they made a total spectacle of it. I mean, they should have started him in the G League and then make him work his way.
But he wanted to play with his dad, and he wanted that opportunity and everything, and they got it done, and then the life goes on. So they got their moment, they got their shine, they got their attention, and now he's working. His career.
I know, but we never really discussed it since he is in town. I think now is as good a time as ever to say that it was a fake, forced moment, and he didn't earn anything. I mean, again, if you would have played him in game 65 or 68 or whatever, great. Then all right, he got called up. But the fact that they had Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr., who are legitimate father and son duo, in courtside to watch opening night where they paraded across this circus, I thought
there's
that was
so many
horrible.
other father son. Cal Ripken's another one that comes to mind. I mean, there's so many that you can say. And obviously, this is not one of
those are legitimate.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. LeBron and Bronny are not one of the strong suits. You don't take away of their relationship, but you can't expect everyone to take their father's footsteps. And this was a case where, Bronny is not projected to be the next LeBron, which is okay. Bronny can be Bronny. Yeah. But they did set him up for success, and now it's back to reality.
No. Agreed.
So. Also, the Panthers now we're in the heart of hockey season, right? I know the last few weeks we've kind of been saying it's been warming up. We're 2 months into it now. Yep. And
they're also not playing well. They lost last night to the Penguins.
Yep.
They've been streaky lately. They won 4, they lost 3. They've been going back and forth. And I'll tell you, they got a monster. They're in Philly tonight. Speaking of Russ, I know Russ just posted that. That was awesome, by the way. Thanks. I need to see those pictures because he hit up all these spectacular facilities in Philly, so I want to check that out. But they're in Philly tomorrow. Then they come back home and they play San Jose here at the Amerant Bank Arena, and then they go on a 5-game road trip out west, including a rematch of the Stanley Cup Final. So Edmonton. they cannot just have an average trip here. Otherwise they're going to fall back
too far.
And this is a dangerous trip when you go on the road for 5 games out west, and you're playing against a team that you beat in the Stanley Cup. They're going to be up for that game. So be interesting to see how the Cats go from here.
Definitely. And before I let you guys go, obviously, next week is our second Finvasions trip of the year. We head to Houston, Texas, where we take on CJ Stroud and the Texans at NRG Stadium. So just
Collins balling out. I mean, they got our old friend Laramie Tunsil. I mean, they got they're also a streaky team of late,
Yeah, but they're dangerous.
Yep. Speaking of the Texans, that horrible hit on Trevor Lawrence.
I don't even want to get into
thankfully, that. Thankfully, the NFL did the right thing and suspended.
The statement, too. They said this is why you're,
Yeah. I mean,
and he still doesn't think he did anything wrong.
Yeah. Well, he's had a history of being that kind of a player, kind of a dirty player. And I'm glad he's off the field because.
If he did that to Tua would be dead.
Yeah. Tua would not have been cleared to come back this year or maybe ever again. Yeah. So thank goodness he's not on that side of the ball.
Yeah, no, definitely. So as mentioned before, we are heading to Houston. We have a Finvasion trip planned out. We mentioned this before. We are completely out of hotel blocks. Same with tickets. We do have some spots left for the Fins Fan Social. Yeah. It is on Saturday, December 14th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Drift Bar, which is in Houston. Richmond Webb will be joining me co-hosting the party. Right. So it's $40. It includes drink tickets. It includes a door prize. It includes a bracelet. It includes a picture for Richmond to sign. So there's a lot going on. But definitely pre-purchase your tickets at www.305sportstravel.com. Also, Saturday night, our friends from the H-Town Dolphins fan club, they're hosting a party that night. It starts at 8 o'clock p.m. And then the next day, their Houston Dolphins fan club is hosting a tailgate starting at 8 o'clock a.m. in the Orange Lot, which is right off like the Metro. It's about a 10-minute walk to NRG Stadium. So definitely, if you're looking for a tailgate, come join them. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah. Orange Lot. That's awesome. That's right. And the cooler thing about it is right next to the old Astrodome,
very cool,
which is right across from NRG Stadium. But the Astrodome, of course, an iconic venue, one of the wonders of the world, the first dome stadium in the world, literally. And so, that's going to be cool to be posted up. and having that as a backdrop to the tailgate. I mean, you can't really beat that. So that'll be a good time.
It's going to be good. No, we're excited. I wish the Dolphins were in a little better position.
Yeah, we all do.
But we're still going to have a great time. There's still a lot going on. It's going to be a fun trip. It's my first time in Houston, yours as well. And it's going to be a good time. Jesse's coming with us as well. So it's going to be good. We're excited. So guys, if you have any questions about the trip, shoot me a DM, email us, and I'm more than happy to help. But we are heading out there at the end of next week, and we'll be out there for a few days.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll recap pretty much. The Dolphins have got to win. Losing last Thursday against the Packers pretty much puts them at they have no more options here. They cannot suffer another loss. That will end the season essentially. So they have to win out. They have to win out, and Houston's one of those games on the schedule that they're going to have to win. Antwan mentioned killing the narratives, which I feel like the word narrative was used like so many times last year. My head almost exploded. But look, they have to win 2 games in the cold. You're going to have to look to win in Cleveland, and you're going to have to win to look in New York at the end of the year.
And then in between that, we still have the 49ers coming to town.
Well, the 49ers are a disaster right now. You saw what they did against Buffalo.
They're a dangerous disaster.
They lost McCaffrey now. He's gone for the year.
Yeah.
They're on their last legs, although they are in the NFC West, which is up for grabs still. Seattle, the Rams, Arizona. Nobody knows who wants that division. Yeah. So I guess they're still in play, but the reality is losing McCaffrey and being as banged up as they are. Bosa didn't play on Sunday night either. I don't look to see the 49ers putting up much of a fight. I'm not worried about that game. I am worried about the Texans game, and I am worried against the Jets at the end of the year. If it comes to that, I am.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, it has been fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. For those in Miami, do not leave the house. It is Art Basel week, aka it is the worst weekend in the whole entire year here. There is
all the roads are parking lots right now, bumper to bumper.
There is a mazillion people, and then you have these ritzy, rich artists who get escorted by like 50 police officers everywhere they go, and it's just gridlock. So if you live down here like we do, you just know that you hunker in. And so that's what we're doing. So for those in town for the game this week, hopefully you're not staying in Miami. Hopefully you're in Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, because you are in a terrible area this week. And it'll probably take you like 5 hours to get to the Hard Rock. Yeah, but do enjoy the nice, cool breeze outside. It's really nippy out, so that's fun. Enjoy that. Guys, really also want to mention that really quick here, that if you are listening on Twitter or X, please go over to YouTube. And if you can, take a moment, subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already, and like tonight's show. Goes a long way. Trust me, it goes a long way to help what we're trying to do. We also like to get all the information out that we, between meetups and, other initiatives that we do throughout the year, we like to announce them here first. So please, if you have a moment, go over to YouTube and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and like tonight's show. Share it with your friends. We're here to talk not just our Dolphins, but sports in general. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in with us tonight. Hopefully Dolphins win Sunday, and we're talking about good things on our next show. So wherever you are, hopefully it's nice and warm, because I know the rest of the country is pretty cold, and we'll catch up with you guys soon. Yep. And congratulations again to the Buffalo Bills. Bills, congratulations on your latest AFC East championship. I'm wearing my Bills hat to salute you. So there you go. Good night, guys.